Morning, Richard here, and welcome to today's video. Okay, today I want to talk about a couple of things that are that I consider to be misconceptions. The saying is that it's not the camera that makes a good photograph, it's the photographer, and to a certain extent that is very true. But there are certain times and certain conditions where you're going to need a certain level of equipment. Let's say you want to get a nice, clear, sharp, clean picture of something moving fast in a low light situation. A camera that can't go above 1600 ISO and a lens that won't go below 5.6 isn't really going to cut it. No matter how good the photographer is, it's not going to give you the light or the quality that you need to get that photo. Now, first off, of course, a good photograph is open to interpretation. What makes a good photograph? Everyone likes different things. Recently, a photograph was sold by a photographer called Peter Lick, who I'm sure most photography people have heard of. And this picture sold for $6.5 million. $6.5 million. Before that, the most expensive one was by somebody called Andreas Gursky. I think I'm pronouncing that. Let me just check. Yeah, Andreas Gursky. And that sold for, I think, $4.3 million. Now this $4.3 million photo was it was nothing, you know, it wasn't for me, it wasn't an amazing photograph. It was very simple, and maybe that's what made it good. A very simple composition. It just had grass, a path, grass, water, grass and sky, like that, just lines, horizontal lines going across the screen. And I wasn't sure if I was allowed to put a picture of that in this video, so I haven't, but it was basically that. And I'm not doing it injustice, obviously, because the reason that $4.3 million, okay, now apparently it was due to the size of the picture. I've seen a picture of this print hanging on a wall somewhere, and it is huge. It is, I don't know the exact size, but it looks 8 foot wide and 3 or 4 foot high. That's the reason why it was so expensive. Apparently the way it was done technically made it, and I don't know what that was, I'm afraid, but that's what made it so expensive. But the other main thing was that it's come from a very well-known photographer, and there are only 6 of them made, so supply and demand. 4 of those 6 are in museums, and there's only 2 that are in private collections, so that's why that picture was worth what it was, or what it is. Now, Andreas Gursky is going to achieve far more than I will ever achieve in photography, and I've looked at his website, and some of the images he's got on there are pretty stunning, and you know, there's a reason why he's a well-known, world-famous photographer selling pictures for millions of pounds. But my point is this: something like this doesn't do it for me. It's not something that I would pay a vast amount of money for to have hanging on my wall. And I guess that's where the whole interpretation of the art comes into it. Somebody will see that and think, wow, that's amazing. They know who it's from, they know what went into making it and creating it, and they would pay, and they'd have a lot of money, and they would pay that kind of money for it. So there's a big difference between that person and me, and I'm not saying that either of us is right or wrong. It is, again, all the interpretation of the art and what you find attractive. But I want to go back to my original point, and bear with me because there is a point to this, I promise. Over the last few months, the last year, whatever, there has been a multitude of new cameras being released from all the major camera manufacturers. From Canon, you've had the 1DX Mark III, which was 6K something, I think. You had the R5 and the R6. Nikon have given us the D6. They've given us the Z7 II and Z6 II, I think. Sony have given us the A9 II. All of these cameras are worth £2,000, £3,000, £4,000, £6,000 each here in the UK, and that is a lot of money just to spend on a body before you've even talked about what glass you're going to put on it. £6,000, or even the smallest one, £2,500 or whatever it was, for just the body is a lot of money, and it's out of reach of a lot of people. And I could go on. There is no disputing the fact that these things are technological marvels. What they can do these days is, in a little black box, is beggars belief. But my point I want to make now, and here comes the point, is you do not have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to get quality cameras. They were making quality cameras 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago that can still take amazing photos even in challenging conditions. And while given the right conditions, given plenty of light, and given an environment that suits the camera you're using, any camera will do. An iPhone takes a great photo, but certain conditions require a certain amount of equipment, and that equipment needs to be able to do the job in that condition. And I've probably said that way too complicated, but you get my gist. Of course, if you're learning and you just want to understand the fundamentals, you want to understand aperture, ISO, shutter speed, JPEG, RAW, all these different things that go into photography, then a few £100 on a camera, go out for walks in your local park, you're going to be able to understand and learn everything about photography with a £300 camera. But trying to take that £300 camera into a environment that is beyond its capabilities, it's not the photographer, that is the camera. And you know, I've been in environments where I've had to shoot at 4, 5, 6, sometimes 12,000 ISO, and a £300 camera with the best will in the world is not going to get a decent picture at 12,800 ISO. So the point is that there is a time when you are going to need better equipment for the environment that you're in. And this is now what I wanted to try and say. You do not need to spend £6,000 on a camera to do that. You can pick up an old camera. For example, this is my Canon 5D Mark III. It's an old camera. I think 2012 it was released, so 8 years ago. I think I picked it up at the start of 2013. It's a full frame camera. It's 22 megapixels, full frame camera. I'll say that bit again. 6 frames a second. It's amazing. Got amazing ISO capabilities. It's got 2 card slots. It takes a battery grip. The ISO can be super clean at 4000, like this picture here, with no noise reduction in Lightroom, or with a little bit of help from Lightroom or a noise reduction software, 12,800 ISO for this picture here. And 8-year-old camera, okay? At the time of recording this, you could pick that camera up for £850 from London Camera Exchange with a 6-month warranty, or you could pick one up on eBay for £200-300 less, £500 or something, I think, if you're a little bit more relaxed and you're not too bothered about the warranty. £500 or £600 for a camera that can shoot at 12,800 ISO. It's full frame, 22 megapixels, got the two card slots. It's a pro camera. It's essentially a pro camera, although it is an old camera, but it's still doing a great job. I still use it, and it's still doing the job for me. And now that's the body. So talking about lenses now, I have the 24-70 2.8 lens. It's the L lens. It's the pro lens from Canon, but again, really, really old, but it's still doing a great job. It's, you know, the newer ones are going to be better. And if you've got £1,000, £1,500, £1,700, I think the new ones are, then buy a £1,700 one. But if you haven't, there are still bargains to be had. I think something like this is about £500 now on London Camera Exchange, again with a 6-month warranty. So we're now looking at a pro kit. We've got 2.8 24-70 lens, a full frame camera that can shoot at 10-12,000 ISO, and if you wanted to, you could get it for a little over £1,000 if you get the eBay versions, and buy them second hand. And you know, a little bit of a gamble obviously, but the point is £1,000 for that kind of kit it's a bargain. It's a bargain. And then let's look at another lens. Let's say you want to do some sports photography. I have got the original 70-200 f2.8 Mark 1's lens. Once Christmas is out of the way and we're into the new year, this lens is 20 years old. 20 years old. And these two photos that I'm showing you now were taken with that camera, with this lens. And these I think are about £700 now. You can pick one up for, this is the Mark 1 version, £700. So you could have a full frame 5D Mark III, a 70, I'm going to drop one of these, a 70 to 200 2.8, and a 24 to 70 2.8 for a little less, around £2,000. I'm just going to put these down before I drop them. So yes, these new cameras that are coming out every week, it feels like now, are amazing. And I have got a 1DX Mark II, which I use a lot, but even that was nearly £3,000 just for the body alone, and that's, I think, 3 or 4 years old. But it's a sports camera. That's what I do when this damn coronavirus goes away. I do sports photography, and it is better than the 5D Mark III. But my point is, you do not need to spend £3,000 if you want to get half decent shots, or not half decent, good shots. £2,000 for a decent body, a 24 to 70, a 70 to 200 2.8. There are ways you can get it without spending thousands and thousands of pounds. So that's it. That's my thoughts on these new cameras that are coming out and what you should spend your money on. And don't be alarmed if you can't get a £4,000 camera. You can still, there are bargains to be had and great photos to be taken. My 2 points, I guess, are this: you do, to a certain extent, need to think about the camera and the lens, depending on the type of photography you want to do and how seriously you want to take it. The entry-level DSLRs are great for learning the trade, but if you want to take it seriously, if you want something to shoot in low light, then you are going to need the equipment to do that. And in that instance, yes, the camera does help. It isn't just the photographer. Of course the camera helps. The photographer adds 80% to it, but you still need to be able to be given an equipment. And like I've just demonstrated, you can get a full kit of gear going from 24mm to 200mm at a fraction of the price, £2,000, which is still a lot of money for some people, I get that, but it's a brilliant bundle of gear for the price. It still does a job, and you don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comment down below if you've got anything you'd like to add. The only thing left for you to do, please, is to hit that like button, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. And until the next time, have a great day. See you soon.